Good evening, everyone. My name is Darren Buzzard. I'm the CEO of Mount Alexander Shire Council, and I'm opening this council meeting tonight in recognition that while our mayor is present for the meeting by Zoom, her ill health is causing her to be unable to fulfil the role of chair tonight. So accordingly, my name is Darren Buzzard. I'm the CEO. Accordingly, councillors, in accordance with clause 9.6.1 of the governance rules, I do ask for a nomination to appoint an acting chair, noting clause 9.6.2 that the deputy mayor is expected to fill the role when available. Councillors, do I have a motion?
I'm happy to move that in accordance with clause 9.61 the governance rules, 0.6.1 of the governance rules 2023, Deputy Mayor Driscoll chair the meeting of council 16th of May 23.
Thank you, Councillor Maltby. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Henderson. All in favour? Thank you. My hand runs over to you. Deputy Mayor
And CEO. To start the official proceedings, I wish to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land we are meeting on. I wish to acknowledge and respect their continuing culture and the contribution they make to the life of Castlemaine and its surrounds. I would also like to acknowledge my own and your own ancestors and all the diverse places they were born in and journeyed to. Can I particularly acknowledge all of those past and present, including our Indigenous communities whose love of this land has made it a place we treasure and a state we all seek to nurture. So there's no apologies and no leaves of absence. I have the two councillors on Zoom. Can you both hear me? And if you could acknowledge that so I can hear you, please. Gary? Okay. Rosie? Thank you. And Lisa, you can hear me too? And we have all other councillors in the room, and we have the CEO, we have Lisa and Michael, both directors. The unconfirmed minutes of the meeting of the Mount Alexander Shire Council held at 6:30 p.m. on the 18th of April 2023 at the Mount Alexander Shire Civic Centre have been circulated to councillors. The unconfirmed minutes have also been posted on the Mount Alexander Shire Council website, pending confirmation at this meeting. Do I have a mover?
Thanks, Mayor. I'd move the recommendation that the minutes of the meeting of the Mount Alexander Shire Council held on 18th of April 2023 be confirmed.
Thank you, Tony. Do I have a seconder? Just Councillor Henderson. Thank you. Do you wish to speak to your motion?
No, the minutes are a great record of what went on. Thank you.
Christine? Okay. All those in favour? Motion carried. Thank you. Are there any declarations of interest or conflicts of interest? No. Thanks, councillors. If there's obviously, as we go through the papers, if anything pops up, please just give me a voice. Thank you. So I'd like to do now to do a valet of Roderick Smith. The Mayor, councillors and staff of Mount Alexander Shire Council extend our sincere condolences to the Smith family and friends following the recent passing of Roderick. Rod was a pioneer of the Australian music scene, playing in bands such as Carson, the Dingoes and Big Combo. The Dingoes were inducted into the ARIA Hall of Fame in 2009 after chart-topping success in the 1970s, including single Way Out West. Recently, Rod played to a packed audience as part of the Castlemaine Senior Festival in 2022. Mount Alexander Shire Council is deeply grateful for Roderick's contribution to the wider music scene generally and his local community. Our thoughts are with his family and loved ones. Are there any councillors who would like to say something? Yes, Councillor Hanson.
Yes, Chair, thank you. I'd like to take this opportunity. I'd like to start at the beginning and say there is a theory that humans actually learn to sing before they learn to talk. We learned it from the birds. However, that might be, certainly in every culture in the world today, singing and musicianship is held in high regard. And of course, of all instruments, the human voice is the best. Broderick Smith was a great musician. He played guitar, banjo, and harmonica. He was a talented musician and he had a beautiful voice, writing many songs. That voice is now gone from the world, but he leaves a great legacy in his recordings. And for the benefit of everyone present, I'd like to play one of my favourites. If I can get this device to work for me.
The nameplates on the avenue of fall, by the long grass. The journey. Stop close on the horizon. No one's there. In these summer years, I'm searching for something.
Thank you very much. Broderick Smith.
Thank you, councillor Henderson. Are there any other councillors who'd like to say something? Yes, councillor Motley.
Thanks, Deputy Member Crystal. When Broderick moved to Castlemaine to live, he was actually employed at the Windaring Copy Centre and was of great assistance to the special needs employees as well as to all customers in general. His humour and demeanour certainly appreciated by the community. Right now, as we speak, there's many members of this community farewelling him tonight at a memorial service at the iconic Theatre Royal. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Motley. Next item is public question time. We have no sent in public questions. Are there nobody from the floor? No, no questions from the floor. Thank you. Item 7, petitions and letters. We have none. Item 8, committee reports. We have none. Item 9, 9.1, community. Could I have someone introduce that, please?
Thanks, Acting Mr. Chair. In accordance with the Local Government Act 2020, the special meeting of Council on 1st of September 2020, Council established community asset committees and appointed members of these committees. In line with the current instruments of delegation from the Chief Executive Officer to the Community Assets Committee, members are appointed for 2 years. The term of membership for all committee members have common start and end dates. Any member appointed to fill a casual vacancy will leave office at the original expiry date of the member they are replacing. The current membership terms expire on the 18th of June 2023. The Community Asset Committees have notified Council of change to their membership following their annual general meetings, and the purpose of this report, and in my motion shortly, is for Council to appoint the new nominated members and revoke the membership of those who have retired. And I would move, Mr. Chairman, that Council appoints the nominated members of the following Community Asset Committees and revokes the membership of the retiring committees as printed in the agenda.
Thank you, councillor Motley. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, councillor McClure on the screen. Councillor Motley, would you like to speak to your motion?
Can I just make a point here? I think maybe the current membership expires on the 18th of April 2024. In your introduction said 2023, but we do know, I think, in the actual motion 2024. Just in case anyone who's on a committee is getting worried that they're about to lose their place next month. Thank you.
Thank you for that point, Councillor Henderson. So, Councillor Motley, would you like to speak to your motion?
Righto. So many of these good community people have volunteered their time and efforts to look after their local community assets. And from time to time they retire and new people put their hands up and do the work. And certainly as a Shire Council, we appreciate their effort and I'm sure their communities do. So we just say thank you to those that are retiring and thank you for those that have volunteered to start.
Thank you, Councillor Motley. Councillor McClure, would you like to speak to your seconder?
No, Deputy Mayor, I think Councillor Maltby said it all. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any opposition? Okay, all those in favour of the motion? Thank you. 2 hands on the screen. Motion carried. The next item on the agenda is environment, and it's item 9.2.1, the domestic wastewater management plan. And can I have an introduction, please? Councillor Henderson, thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. This report is presented to Council to consider the adoption of the updated Domestic Wastewater Management Plan 2023 to 2027. Council, in accordance with the EPA Act 2017 and other environmental protection regulations, and in collaboration with the EPA, is responsible for the oversight of domestic on-site wastewater management systems within the Shire. That's quite enough. Domestic on-site wastewater management systems, commonly known as septic tanks, that's much easier to say, are wastewater systems that process flows under 5,000 litres each day. They're used at residential, community and business premises where connection to the reticulated sewer system is not possible. If managed inappropriately, domestic wastewater may transport nutrients, pathogens and other pollutants to surface waters and impact upon groundwater beneficial uses, which can adversely affect human health and social immunity and the economy and environment. It's a requirement under the EPA Act 2017 that Council has developed a domestic wastewater management plan to improve the management of domestic wastewater in Victoria. The review and update of this plan reinforces our commitment to appropriately manage domestic wastewater throughout the Shire and has allowed for a more considered and streamlined approach to completing the required actions. This updated plan would not require any significant change to the operation and management of domestic wastewater within the municipality. And I'd like to move that Council adopts the Domestic Wastewater Management Plan 2023 to 2027. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Henderson. We do have a seconder. Councillor Cordy. Councillor Henderson, would you like to speak to the motion?
I can admit, without saying domestic wastewater management plan too often, I can say that we are required to have one of these. It got us out of a nasty crisis across a lot of shires in Victoria when suddenly down came the rule that said that we could have no development in unsewered land under 40 hectares in rural areas. And the way out of that was to produce, eventually, with a lot of negotiation going on at ministerial level, we managed to get out of it by producing a robust domestic wastewater management plan, as has every other rural shire. And so, yes, it has to roll on. It's 4 years. We have to complete a new one or an updated one every year. Otherwise, we will not be able to permit. We could only have development to one dwelling for each 40 hectares, regardless of planning zones where there is an environmental significance overlay. So, yes. And it does say if the development requirements are not met, future development in unsewered towns such as Taradale would be restricted to preserve the quality and safety of potable water throughout the Shire. negatively impacting development. So this plan aims to ensure that a lack of access to sewer will not unnecessarily impact development in unsewered areas. And that's the crunch. That's what this is all about. So it's a robust plan. It includes a case study actually for a development in Taradale, which I will just draw my fellow councillors' attention to. On page 10, it's an example of an unsewered town where, thanks to our forebears and Mr. Urquhart in particular, in the 1850s, there are a lot of very small so-called crown allotments in the township zone. And of course, back in the day, when there were a few thousand people living in Taradale, each one of these small lots would have a house on it. But the sewage projects were carried away by the night soil cart. And so that was the day of being able to deal with the waste in a very efficient manner. However, we no longer have that kind of system. So in Taradale, it says the centralised sewer system for Taradale is the most appropriate proposal to enable increased development. And there was a study done in 2017 where it looked at, instead of installing a full reticulated sewage, it would be a pressure sewer system, which involved connecting septic systems to a pump well, which would then direct primary treated wastewater through some sort of piping to an appropriately sized secondary treatment plant. The pump would then automatically activated as and when required. Following secondary treatment, the wastewater would then be dispersed on a suitable parcel of land, which would be located outside of the term limits, i.e. a localised sewage system for Taradale. In the absence of any clear commitment to sewer the town of Taradale by Colway Water, in brackets, the township of Taradale's development future is uncertain. Though this study was completed in 2013, it still holds relevance to the wastewater issues being experienced in Taradale and other similarly sized towns. Here we go. So that's just one little excerpt from this plan. I'm sure my fellow councillors are familiar with the structure and contents of such plans, and I commend it to you as a very important document for our planners and the successful management of wastewater throughout the Shire. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Henderson. Is there a seconder? Councillor Cordy. Councillor Cordy, would you like to speak to the motion?
Thanks, Councillor Driscoll. I'd just like to acknowledge the work of our staff in preparing the plan. It's great to see that we'll have that in place shortly. And in particular, I'd like to thank Director of Infrastructure and Development, Director Anir, and also our Coordinator of Public and Environmental Health, Melissa Wilson. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Cordy. Is any opposition to the motion? Would any councillor like to speak to this motion? No? Okay, so all those in favour? Thank you, all hands up. Motion carried. Thank you. And thank you, Councillor Henderson, for that background. It was great. Next item on the agenda is 9.3 economy, 9.3.1 awarding of a contract M1700 2023 Bill Woodford Recreation Reserve all gender change facility. Can I have someone to introduce the motion, please? Yes, Councillor Gardner. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. This report seeks approval to proceed with the awarding of contract M1700 2022 for construction of the Bill Woodford Recreation Reserve all gender change facilities. Council is proposing the construction of all gender female-friendly change facilities consisting of 2 gender-neutral change rooms, 2 gender-neutral umpire change rooms, public toilets including DDA toilets, administration office, first aid and storage. The facilities will be used by netball and tennis participants, including coaches and umpires. In support of the project, Council was successful in receiving $1 million from the Sport and Rec Victoria's 2022 female-friendly facilities grants, and Council has matched this with an additional sum of $755,287 allocated across the 2 financial years. Council undertook a public tender process between 21st of February to 24th of March 2023, with 7 conforming tenders received. Tenders were evaluated against predetermined criteria, and the valuation panel recommended to issue the contract for the construction of the all gender change facilities to BLR Provisional Construction Proprietary Limited. I would like to move a motion to my fellow councillors as printed to award the contract and also approve the money for the upgrading of power, water and sewerage connections to make this facility do occur.
Thank you, councillor Gardner. Do I have a seconder?
Seconded.
Thank you, councillor Maltby. Councillor Gardner, would you like to speak to your motion?
Yes. Oh, this is pretty exciting for me. I know that I've had children play their girl football, boys, and actually see this actually finally happen is really amazing. I know for obviously the Malden Football Netball Club, the players, the volunteers, the people involved, and also the tennis club. These will hopefully provide, particularly the girls, a place where they've got to change and a place where they can hang out. And obviously also this room for coaching staff and alike. As some councils may or might not know, in the facilities at Malden in particularly doesn't cater very well for females in particular. So this is a great addition to this supporting the Malden and surrounds. I note that obviously we've discussed this before, there will be some tree removal, but it was really interesting to see Bev from Mulga, who's the Malden Urban Land Care Group, was really impressed by council and how they developed this and how they are going to look after the trees, so that's really good. And part of this obviously also in conjunction we'll see the upgrading of lights. So basically, all in all, this is a really great initiative for the Malden community and particularly for the football club. It's currently within budget, so that's also good. And obviously we'll have to see how that goes and hopefully it stays within budget. And obviously you have to acknowledge the state government with a significant investment, but equally the council has obviously done a significant investment in as well into this facility. So yeah, to my fellow councillors, I hope you support it, and I'm looking forward to when it starts and finish, and hopefully disruption to the football season will be minimal.
Thank you, councillor Gardner. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Maltby, would you like to speak to your motion? Sorry, did you?
Yeah, I'll speak to the motion. Thanks, Mr. Chairman. The awarding of this contract is important and it continues the work of the council in the last few years to upgrade facilities. And for example, Newstead and Harcourt have had the works done. Malden is now on the agenda, and the current budget that we're proposing to be accepted shortly follows through with more work at Campbell's Creek and Castlemaine. So we are going down the right path to upgrade our facilities for all sports people, especially females, when currently we all know that they are poorly looked after. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor Maltby. Is there any opposition to the motion? Yeah, no.
I just like to say, oh, sorry.
So any councillors like to speak to the motion? Yes, Christine.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that I never thought I'd see this happen. It was one of those one day, events, construction thing, and here it is. So I just want to echo my fellow councillor there and say that yes, it's he's not going to happen.
Oh, no.
Oh, beg your pardon. I thought it was going to happen. So I'm very pleased to see it happening. Perfect. That'd be a great deal.
Thank you, councillor Henderson. Any other councillors like to speak to the motion? Councillor Crowley.
Thanks, councillor Driscoll. Look, I think this is a fantastic project, and I think it's just a further demonstration of how effectively our council works together with our communities, whether they're outlying communities or within Castlemaine. But fantastic project, and really it's a generational project, from the multi-generational project, from the point of view of the there'll be young people using the facilities, their parents will go along, their grandparents will go along, their aunties and uncles. Like it's really sets the scene, having a fantastic engagement for the whole community. So well done to all concerned. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cordy. Any other councillors like to speak to this motion? No? Okay, we have a motion there. Thank you. All those in favour? Motion carried. 2 hands up there. Thank you. Item 10 is delegates report. I have the CEO's report here, which I'll pass over to there. Are there any other councillors also would like to say delegates report? Just the mayor, okay. Anybody else? And Councillor Gardner. Okay, so I'll get the CEO to go first. Is that okay with you, CEO? What do you want me to do? Deputy Mayor, very happy to. Yep. Okay.
And I know, councillors, there's a number of items on there which you also attended, so I won't speak on any of those, as I'm sure you'd like to. And as usual, there's a number of meetings with other authorities and organisations and government departments over the last month or two, and I won't pick up on any of those unless you want me to speak on those. The one that I was really wanted to note was the last one on the list, which just happened earlier today, actually, was where I met with Carol and Aileen from the Castlemaine Historical Society, where we, after a lot of work from a lot of people in both organisations, finalised our memorandum of understanding together, which is a 2-year agreement that talks about how we want to work together, how we want to continue to support the work that they're doing at the Castlemaine Historical Society Inc., and also the extent to which they can support the work of council as well. So it's been a long-standing and strong relationship. Without this agreement in place, we think this is only going to help with that even more, and we know that it's of assistance to them when they're looking to seek funding from other government departments. So really appreciate them making the time to come in and do that with me today. And it's, as you know, councillors, it's one of many memorandums of understanding that we have and agreements that we have in place across the Shire with a variety of community groups that really is designed to help us get the most for our community in the most efficient way possible, because, as you know, we can't afford to do everything ourselves. So this is yet another great one of those that we've managed to put in place today. Very pleased about that, Deputy Mayor. So I'll stop there.
Thank you. Thank you, CEO. Is there any questions to the CEO from councillors? Okay, then, Mayor Anita, you'd like to do a delegates report?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I would just wanted to talk about a couple of things that I've done over the last month. It's been pretty busy again, and I haven't been very well, so it's felt hard sometimes, but it's always really rewarding once I get out there. A few that I'd like to mention, probably the first one is the housing forum that was coming up kind of last time we had a council meeting. Obviously, I sat on a panel there with Lisa Chesters and Marie Edwards, as well as Claire, our housing solutions broker, and Lauren, who's coordinator of strategic planning. So we sat on the panel, and there were questions from that had been pre-submitted by the audience, as well as a couple on the day, and it was good. It was really good to hear what other levels of government are doing, as well as really getting the sense and being able to share the sense that what we're doing at local government level is actually pretty amazing, and to really be able to kind of share all the different impacts that will hopefully have for our community and the housing crisis. So it was a really positive experience. I don't think it'll be the last one of those. we got through not as much as everyone would have liked. So, but it was really great to be a part of, and great to have everyone in the same room. Another day that was pretty special was Anzac Day, and it's something that's kind of, I guess, for my family has fallen off over the last couple of years with COVID. We used to go when the kids were younger, but it was really lovely to attend this year as the mayor and to be able to speak about what Anzac Day means, and also to hear other people speak about what it means to them. It was quite powerful. I was lucky to attend both the Castlemaine and most of the Campbell's Creek ceremony and lay a wreath at both, and it was really fantastic. I know most of my fellow councillors were also out and about attending ceremonies. I feel like we covered most of the Shire between us, and I know from talking to community members that it was appreciated that we were there, and it felt really good as well. The last two that I'd like to mention, a couple of weekends ago was Castlemaine Pride as part of, well, it was a Castlemaine Pride picnic in the park as part of the week-long Castlemaine Pride celebrations. It was a really beautiful afternoon. I don't think I've ever seen so many people there before. Obviously last year there was very bad weather, so it was indoors, but they were back in the Botanical Gardens this year with more stalls and more kind of activities than ever. And just so many people who I hadn't seen before. Lots of people visiting our Shire specifically for this event. It was really special, and I thought Councillor Maltby did just such a bang-up job of judging the dog show. I was very, very happy that he did that instead of me, because I would have floundered. Those dogs were all pretty fancy. Lastly, and I always get pretty emotional and affected by these. We had a citizenship ceremony last week, and it's the biggest one that I've presided over during my time as mayor. We welcomed 14 new people as Australian citizens. It was a packed room. I think the most we've had in the room for a long time. Kids and families. It was very special, and it was also the first time we've had the photo of the King in the room instead of the Queen. Not sure what kind of difference that made, but it was noticeable. But always just such an amazing thing to be a part of, and something that I never thought I would be a part of. But just a beautiful day. So that's kind of my highlights from the last month. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and you. Get well soon too. Other councillors? Councillor Gardner?
I'd say quick one, Chair. Obviously, I was sitting here thinking, I haven't done much, and I forgot that it includes Anzac. So obviously in Malvern, Anzac is a big thing. They have a ceremony night before dawn, and the local council leads the down the street about 10:30. So that's something good, and a nice ceremony in the gardens. But I did want to actually shout out to, I attended in the afternoon out at Nuggety, and so I don't know if anyone ever has got nothing to do at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Anzac Day. They have a really great food out there, all homemade by local women, and I tell you what, it's well worth it. And I learned about, if no one's learned about it, the Major Bullwinkle. It's an interesting story. That was one of the themes of Anzac Day. It's a very fascinating story. People have no time, but
Thanks, you. Nurse Bullwinkle from Broken Hill. Yep. Any others, Councillor Henderson? No.
No. Yeah, Anzac Day, great. Taradale. Yeah, we also have food. We get the Highton Municipal Band, so it's a full-on event, and good time at our program. Yeah.
Thanks, Councillor Henderson. Thank you, everyone. So everyone's the delegates. Well, I attended the opening of the old jail, and I think encourage everybody to go there. It's going to be it's fantastic, and it's open now, and I was really impressed with that. I also attended the Housing Shire Forum, which I thought was really good, and also I go to the dawn service and the Anzac Day service in Maldon, because I support my father-in-law, who's 90, and he's the oldest surviving Korean War veteran of the RSL in Maldon. So I've been going there for a number of years. And that's all for my delegates report. Thank you. Next item is item 11, and we have a notice of motion. Councillor Henderson, would you like to move that, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Move that council write to the Honourable Jacqueline Symes, Minister for Emergency Services, and the Honourable Mary Ann Thomas, State Member for Macedon, requesting their assistance in expediting the construction of a new fire station at Metcalfe.
Thank you, Councillor Henderson. Do I have a seconder?
Seconded.
Councillor Maltby. Councillor Henderson, would you like to talk to your motion, please?
Certainly, I'll read my rationale. Metcalfe CFA have been waiting for a new fire station for over a decade. Finally, their turn came when an amount of money was allocated by CFA state headquarters for a new facility. In 2022, Council resolved to sell a parcel of land in Metcalfe to the CFA for the purpose of constructing the new fire station. The price of the land to be determined in accordance with the funds available for the project. Council acknowledged at the time that the sale price would be significantly lower than the market value of the land, but agreed that the prime purpose of the sale was to support the Metcalfe community and its fire brigade in achieving their goal of a modern fire station. Council's expectation has been that with the money and the land in place, the construction of the fire station would follow promptly in 2023. However, advice recently received is to the contrary. Information given is that the state authority now responsible for commissioning new buildings for emergency services organisations has changed priorities, and Metcalfe's new fire station could be several years away at least. The Metcalfe CFA has a long, proud record of serving their community, fighting fires in the local district and further afield. Currently, the brigade has difficulty in attracting new members, especially females, and I think it's fair to say the average age of the current brigade is in its mid-70s. There are no showers, toilet facilities are primitive, and there is no meeting space. Most other local brigades have received new facilities in recent years and have very healthy recruitments, such as Taranto. Having mounted a strenuous campaign, Metcalfe were very pleased to be allocated funds for a new station. It is urgent that this facility is constructed without further delay to allow the brigade to flourish and continue to play its vital role in the Shire's firefighting force. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Henderson. Councillor Maltby, would you like to speak to the motion, please?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. There's no doubt any assistance that the Minister and the local member can give, push the project up the ladder where it already originally was, will help. Councillor Henderson is right. In the Shire of Mount Alexander, the Metcalfe Fire Station would be the worst one in facilities. And the Metcalfe Fire Station does need fixing. It's an important part of the community out there, and the people do a wonderful job as part of the CFA, but just because the government has changed their organisational building projects around doesn't mean that you should get pushed down the ladder so that they can build a permanent station somewhere else. This is volunteer stuff.
Thank you, Councillor Maltby. Is there any opposition to the motion? No. Okay. Would any councillors like to speak to the motion? No. Thank you. All those in favour? All hands up. Motion carried. Thank you. Item 12 is urgent special business, which there is none. Item 13, confidential items, which there is none. So I now declare the meeting closed at 7:09. Thank you very much for your attendance.